Everyone, the trail guy here. Welcome. Before we get into today's topic, injury-free running, I've got a little sidebar here. Last week I sort of misquoted when I mentioned the acronym PDR, and I mentioned that was coined by Anthony Robbins. Wrong. It's Tom Hopkins. He was the real estate guru back in the 80s, and he's a speaker now. But that's Tom Hopkins. So I just want that straight. And also. A lot of I was thinking about running. Why I love running, why I'm passionate about it is one of the big things about it is it energizes me. And to give you an idea, and I forgot to mention last week when we did the blog, that morning before we did in the afternoon, I went on a 4-hour and 30-minute run, and that really energized me. So hopefully I was lively last week. I think I was because I was excited to do the video blog for the first time. So. Another, I guess what we're going to talk about here, again, the big thing I found out one thing every trail runner wants is they want to run injury-free. And the second thing that I found out that every trail wants is to run with a clear mind. So today, what we're going to do, I'm going to share with you what I have done these last 21 years to avoid injuries. So we'll get into that right away. I really believe in systems, structures, programs, and I want to just share a story with you before we get into that. About 25 years ago, McDonald's Hamburgers did a survey of all of their franchisees. They wanted to find out who made the most money as a franchisee over a 25-year span. So looking at all the people that had the franchises from different occupations, from doctors to lawyers to business people, realtors, farmers, whoever, they just had from every occupation owned it. So after they figured the figures out after 25 years, they found out that the most successful franchisees were farmers, and which to me that was surprising. We thought it would be a businessman or people have been in business. But what they found, when anybody buys a franchise and they spend $1 million for a franchise, for example, what they're buying is a proven successful system. So here comes a farmer, he'll get the manual with, let's say, 50 steps, how to run a successful McDonald's. So they'll look at the manual, they'll follow every step. They don't know anything about business, but they bought this franchise for $1 million, so they might as well follow the system. Other people get their sort of egos in the way, so to speak. They'll look at step number 17 maybe and they'll say, oh, maybe let's tweak that. Or step number 63, let's eliminate that. But the farmer, he followed every step. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you what I've done to, again, to avoid injuries for the last 21 years. So we'll get into that right now. Again, I want you to become farmers. So the first thing that's kept me really injury-free, and it's called the 48-hour training concept. And I'm just going to read it verbatim what that 24-hour training system is, and it's very important. This is one of the keys. The body takes almost 48 hours to recover adequately from a strenuous overload, and it takes 48 hours before the system begins to detrain or gradually lose the beneficial effects of training. So again, adopt an easy day, hard day training rotation, and again, a relatively long run at a low intensity. And that's one of the keys. Then, to keep it simple, for about 5 years ago, I owned a heart rate monitor. And two things that I learned from having a heart rate monitor, I don't use it now, but for 2.5 years I did. Two things that I learned from the heart rate monitor. Number one, I found I was going out too hard on my easy days. And while I see the range, the target range is where I should be in, when I was looking at it, I thought, well, I'm having an efficient workout. Before that, I thought you had to go hard, you had to be sweaty to have a good workout. Wrong. So that's one thing. Second benefit of having a heart rate monitor, when I started doing hills, I'll almost turn the corner for the first hill and I'd almost speed up. And my heart rate was just jacked up at the top. So I found out you have to slow down your pace. I call it even, you have to have an even level of effort or the same breathing as you are in the flat ground. That's the key. So that was the big key on staying injury free. Number 2, warm up, cool down. I believe in a warm up before you do anything, anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. Easy run, walk, or on a bike, and a stationary bike before you go outside for a run. Cool down, after the run, cool down about 10 minutes. Again, another walk, run. That's very important. Number 3, water intake. Big thing, I really believe a lot of runners do not drink enough water. When I do my runs, minimum 40-minute run, which what I'm training for now, you know, I'm always drinking water, so I take in water every 15 minutes. Again, for runs for longer than 40 minutes. And for fuel, gels, I was experimenting with that over years, but what I found that worked for me and for a lot of people, take a gel every 40 minutes to 45 minutes and take water with it. That's very important. Number 4 point, run on soft surfaces. That's the beauty about running on trails. It is soft surfaces. Years ago when I got into running back in 1990, the instructor was a gentleman named Dr. George Kinnear. He was the sports psychologist at the University of Calgary. And the first thing he told the class, he said, I've been running for 31 years, but if I had to do it all over again, I would run on soft surfaces. So that was the big one. Now, another thing, again, I did mention about the hill, same level of effort, same breathing as running on the flats, very important. And they coined that phrase, disguise speed work. Hills is disguise speed work. Personally, I don't like speed work. I love to run, but I found doing hills, I just get energized and I have that sense of accomplishment. And number 6 is very important, is having the right type of trail shoe or any shoe for whatever you're doing. So I just want to demonstrate a little bit. I've kind of simplified it. I do work in a running store for the last 14, 15 years, so I know my shoes. But I'm going to just show you something. I'm just going to quickly show you basically how to find out what's the best running shoe for you, what foot type you have. I don't know if everybody heard the overpronation, what the word means. So basically, I'm just going to show you, demonstrate. Overpronation means when you go from heel to toe, you roll inward. That's called overpronation. So basically, there are 2 types of shoes. Basically, all the companies have 5 different shoes, but the 2 main ones. So myself, when I go from heel to toe, I go down, so I'm a neutral runner. So I need more flexibility in the medial area. But 70% of people, when they go from heel to toe, they roll inward. So they need a posting, it's called, in here to help them, prevent them from going inward. Because if they go inward, if they don't have the right shoe for their foot, it's going to put stress on the tissues and take you out of alignment. So that's very important to have the right type of shoe for what you're doing. And trail shoes, of course, are very, very important because you're on uneven terrain. Now, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. What we're going to start doing in the show is I'm going to give you guys the quote of the week. I got ahead of myself by going into injury free, but I found that was very important. But I wanted to show you for the quote of the week today. Let me show you this. Hope you can see it pretty good. The quote of the week is, the great end of life is not knowledge, but action, by a gentleman by Thomas Henry Huxley. So that's the quote of the day. I'll just rub that off right now. I might need the blackboard here in a while. Let's just rub that off. So we'll be doing the quote of the week right now. Now, we've got the main things on injury-free running. People who are in pain right now, let me just I just wanted to share you quickly. You're in pain right now and you're injured. Here's a couple quick tips here. If the pain persists after a run for more than 5 minutes after you begin your run, stop. If the pain forces you to alter your running gait, stop. If pain for less than 30 minutes after your run, take the next day off. And number 4, if the pain persists for more than 30 minutes after the run, take the next 3 days off. Don't let your ego be your amigo. Just follow the steps that work. Remember, you want to be a farmer. All right, guys, that's pretty well right here. Let's see what else I'm going to mention a little bit. I have my fun with all my pictures and everything, so I do want to share another picture with you guys. This one was taken. Oops, we're going to have what? We're going to have some fun today. Here we go. Boy, I don't want to get that. Listen, this is my Leadville medal that I got in 2007. That's what I'm gunning for now. Actually, if I do it under 25 hours, the Leadville 100, it's a silver and gold belt buckle, and it's about that size bigger. So that's the goal. But right now, since I dropped it, I'm going to share that with you. There it is. Now, I want to share a picture with you. One of the 2 top runners in North America right now on trail running, and a lot of people probably have heard it, is this Anton Krupka, and from the US, and then Adam Campbell from Canada, and he's actually from Victoria, and I believe he's running in Vancouver now, but we caught a picture of him at the White River 50-miler championships in July a couple of years ago, and I got a picture of Anton and Adam running one-on-one. Just a beautiful picture. I hope you can see, but look at the trails, look at the scenery on that. That, to me, is very inspiring. I'm a visual kind of guy, so that's why I love that. It inspires me when I take a look at that. So again, I wanted to share that with you guys. And another thing, what we're going to be doing at the end, a lot of people have asked me, well, any books, recommendations for books to read. So every week we're going to recommend 1 or 2 books to you. So today I'm going to recommend one book, and it's called, and write this down, it was back since, I believe I read it in 1988, and it's called Ageless Body, Timeless Mind by Deepak Chopra. Fantastic book, fantastic book. And another one is, again, I had mentioned Anthony Robbins last week, but one of his great books was published in 1986. I read it in 1988. It's called Unlimited Power. Actually, the quote that I showed you earlier was from his book. In his book, when he starts out every chapter, he's got the little aphorism on the on top of every chapter, and on the very first chapter, that saying was, the great end to life is not knowledge but action. He had that on top, but after saying that, the book was 421 pages. I mean, knowledge is important, but applied knowledge is power. But it's interesting about that quote was taking action. So that's a highly recommended book. And I think we've covered what we had to today. Another point now, I want to see a lot of interaction with everyone who's viewing, and I'd love for you to post comments on my Twitter or in my website, or again on the YouTube. And I'm going to ask you, hopefully get started. I want to find out, I'm going to ask you a few questions I want you to answer, and if you can really give me a feedback, it'll help me what I can sort of talk about. I want to talk about things and share information, what's important to every viewer out there. So one of the quick questions is, what is the single biggest fear you have when it comes to running? And that's really for newcomers too. What is your biggest fear? Second question for people who've been running a lot, what is the single biggest frustrations you have when it comes to trail running? And then third question, what happens as a result of this frustration? And then what have you tried so far that hasn't worked? And question number 5, if you had a magic wand, that silver bullet, what would be the ideal solution? And question number 6, if you could ask me just one question about trail running, what would it be? So that'd be nice. Give it some thought on that, and I'd sure like to get your comments and maybe solve some of those problems you have. So I think I'd like to sort of end it today. Thank you for viewing, and remember, the trail guy. Talk to you later.